Hi, welcome to the city of Quincy. I'm Bill Arienti of the Quincy Fire Department.
I'm Mike Palazzo.
And we're here to make something for you special today. It's a wild mushroom risotto. It takes a little time to make, but it's really worth it. At the firehouse, we make sure that we have to cook things that are, number one, good to eat, number two, fairly easy to make, and number three, cheap. So this is one of the things that pretty much fits it all. We start off with some chicken broth. We need 5 cups of chicken broth that we have to heat up. And this broth will make the rice and the risotto really, really creamy. Into that we add porcini mushrooms. Porcini, I have never seen them fresh. I've only seen them dried, which probably is why this recipe works so well. They're a very pungent mushroom when they're dried, and we rehydrate them just by putting them into the broth and letting them sit and steep for about 10 to 15 minutes. And when they come out, the broth will be a lot darker, and the mushrooms will be very tender and very flavorful when you eat them. Into the pot, we have to fry some onions, 2.5 cups of onions. We fry the onions in olive oil and butter. We have to put the olive oil in the butter because if we don't, the butter will burn at the higher temperature and ruin the onions. So we're just going to throw 2 tablespoons of butter in.
Yep.
And about a tablespoon of olive oil. You don't have to be precise. Actually, I'd rather not be precise. Every time I have it, it tastes a little different. Okay, and now we'll chop up onions in real small pieces, about 1/2-inch squares. The best part about risotto is it can be used not only that day, but it's good the next day if you take it and insert maybe a little ham, peas, some cheese, make balls out of it, roll it in a little flour, and fry them up, and they make great rice balls.
Okay, right there, Bill?
Yep, all set to go. We need a full 2.5 cups of onions for this recipe. You want to cook the onions until they're real soft, yellow in color, and somewhat translucent. Our onions are now nice and tender. They've been cooking for about 8 minutes, and we're going to add in 2 large cloves of garlic.
I'm coming.
Beautiful. All right, we're going to let that cook for about a minute. The most important thing is don't burn the garlic. Once you burn the garlic, throw it all out. Start right from scratch. It's no good. There's no way you can bring it back. After the garlic is cooked for 2 minutes, we're going to stir in 12 ounces of chopped crimini mushrooms. Now, crimini might be a little difficult to find. You can always use shiitake. Shiitake is another really tasty mushroom. Crimini is a lot more flavorful, but shiitake mimics it pretty good. And while Mike is chopping that up, I'm going to take out the porcinis, and he can chop those up as well.
Transfer them on this plate, Bill?
Yeah, you can just chop them up all together. We're all going to go in at the same time. I'm going to toss these in, and we're going to chop up a tablespoon each of fresh marjoram and fresh thyme. You got to use fresh with this recipe. The canned stuff, the dry stuff just doesn't make it. Once you try the fresh stuff, you'll see it's really flavorful. The best part about it is if you get some thyme leaves, thyme seeds, throw them outside in the garden. They come back every year, and you can just pick it out of your grass if you want. It's delicious.
Number 1 off tonight, 1 officer for tonight. 10:49.
Now, we let that fry for about, saute for about 2 minutes until everything melds nice. You can add a little salt and pepper if you'd like, for flavoring. I like to add a little salt now, and not too much. And then add it at the end when you can taste it. Now that that's all sauteed and going really good, you add 1.5 cups of arborio rice. Now, arborio rice is what makes risotto. It's a small grain. It's pretty small, and when it cooks, it makes a very creamy consistency. It absorbs a whole lot of liquid. So we'll put 1.5 cups right in, stir it right into the mushrooms and onions. If you want to. And let that saute. It won't look like there's a whole lot of rice in there, but at the end product, it just swells up and gets so creamy that it's delicious. So we let that fry for 2 minutes. Now that that's sauteed for 2 minutes, we're going to add 1/2 cup of a nice dry white wine. And this will be absorbed by the rice in a matter of maybe 30 seconds. So you just throw it in and stir it in. The rice sops it right up. And we just let that go. Now once the rice sops that up, we begin using the chicken stock. We're coming basically towards the best part of this, when you can actually see a product coming to life. So you add about 1 cup of stock at a time and let the rice absorb the soup. It takes about 5 minutes to absorb all of the stock. And then once that's done, you add another cup, and you keep going and going until all of it is gone. By that time, the rice should swell to about 4 times the size that it was at the beginning, and you'll notice a real creamy consistency. Now once almost all the liquid has been absorbed, all the stock, you get 1/2 cup of good Parmesan cheese. Sprinkle it in and stir it in. So you could add a little more butter if you'd like at the end. We try not to use a whole lot of butter at the stations for obvious reasons. The petite flour that I am, it just doesn't go over good. So now, once the cheese is absorbed, we plate it. This makes a great appetizer to stand by itself. It makes a fantastic side dish for a lighter fare. You don't want to have steak and a big pile of risotto, but for a smaller meal, this is really good. And you can garnish with your fresh herbs. I hope you make it. I hope you like it. I know you will. And you're always welcome here in Quincy. Thanks a lot.